I sat in that courtroom staring at the woman across from me, the same woman who taught me how to tie my shoes, who stayed up late helping with homework, who worked 3 jobs to keep a roof over our heads. Now she was trying to take mine. Her lawyer shuffled papers, confidently painting me as the villain in a story I did not even recognize. They thought I was just some naive kid who would not fight back. They thought wrong, because sitting in my pocket was something that would change everything, and my mom had no idea it existed. Before I tell you what happened in that courtroom, I want to know where you are watching this from. Drop your location in the comments below. And if you have ever dealt with family drama that turned legal, hit that like button so I know I am not alone in this. Make sure to subscribe, because what I am about to share gets wild and you will not want to miss how this story ends. Trust me, the moment I pulled out my secret weapon, everyone's face in that courtroom changed. Let me take you back 3 years to when this nightmare began. I grew up in a single-parent home. My dad walked out when I was 5 years old, just vanished one Tuesday morning and never came back. My mom, Patricia, raised me alone. She was everything to me. I watched her leave for her first job at 6 in the morning, come home at 3, then head out again for her evening shift. Weekends, she cleaned houses. She never complained, never made me feel like a burden. When I was 10, I asked her why she worked so much. She smiled tired lines around her eyes and said, "You are my only reason to keep going, Dudley. Everything I do is so you can have a better life than I did." That stuck with me. Every single day of my childhood, I felt this weight. Not a bad weight, but a responsibility. I promised myself I would make her sacrifices worth it. In high school, I worked at a grocery store bagging groceries after classes. During college, I took every internship I could find studying computer science because the money was good. I barely slept. My friends went to parties while I sat in the library until midnight. But I had a goal. I wanted to buy a house, a real house, and let my mom finally rest. After graduation, I landed a software engineer position in Portland, Oregon. The salary was decent, $75,000 a year. I lived in a tiny studio apartment, ate ramen most nights, and put every spare dollar into savings. My coworkers thought I was crazy. They bought new cars, went on vacations. I kept my beat-up Honda Civic from college and stayed home. 3 years of this. 3 years of sacrifice. Finally, I had enough for a down payment. The house was perfect. 3 bedrooms in a quiet neighborhood on the outskirts of Portland. $250,000. I qualified for the mortgage, $3,000 monthly. Signing those papers felt surreal. At 28 years old, I owned property. The first thing I did after getting the keys was call my mom. "Mom, I bought a house," I said, unable to keep the excitement from my voice. "I want you to move in with me. You can finally stop working so hard." She cried. I mean, really cried, the kind of sobbing that makes your chest hurt. "Dudley, baby, are you serious? This is my dream. I have always dreamed of this moment." 2 weeks later, I picked her up from her cramped apartment downtown. She only had 4 boxes of belongings. That broke my heart. 53 years old, and everything she owned fit in my trunk. I had already set up the master bedroom for her. Big windows, new furniture, soft yellow paint because she loved yellow. When she walked in and saw it, she hugged me so tight I could barely breathe. Those first 6 months were golden. I went to work each morning and came home to the smell of her cooking. She made pot roast, her famous mac and cheese apple pie, on Sundays. We watched game shows together in the evenings. Weekends we worked in the garden planting tomatoes and roses. She seemed happy, genuinely happy. I felt like I had finally done it. I had given back to the woman who gave me everything. Then things started to shift. Small things at first. Around month 7, she began inviting her friends over. That was fine, I wanted her to have a social life. But I noticed how she introduced the house. "Welcome to my house," she would say, gesturing around the living room. "This is my kitchen. Let me show you my backyard." The first time I heard it, I laughed it off. Mothers are proud, right? But she kept doing it over and over, always emphasizing that word. My. Then came the requests. "Dudley, I want to repaint the living room. Pink would be lovely." I explained that pink was not really my style and maybe we could compromise on a neutral beige. She frowned. You never listen to me. Another time, we should knock down this wall between the kitchen and dining room. Open concept is so popular now. I showed her the renovation quotes, $15,000 I did not have. She huffed and did not speak to me for 2 days. One afternoon I came home early from work. My boss had let me leave after I finished a major project ahead of schedule. I walked in quietly, not wanting to startle her. That is when I heard her voice from the kitchen talking on the phone. Yes, Karen, my son bought this house, but technically it should be mine. I raised him, sacrificed everything. Without me, he would be nothing. This house is really mine, you know what I mean. I froze in the hallway. My heart started pounding so loud I thought she might hear it. She laughed at something Karen said, then continued. I am working on it. He owes me this much at least. I stepped into the kitchen. Mom, what did you just say? She spun around, phone clutched to her chest, eyes wide. For a second, genuine fear flashed across her face. Then she smiled, that sweet mom smile I had known my whole life. Nothing, honey. You misheard. I was just telling Karen how grateful I am. You know how us old ladies exaggerate. But I knew what I heard. That night, lying in bed, I replayed it over and over. Maybe I was overthinking. Maybe she was just being dramatic with her friend. I wanted to believe that. I needed to believe that. The next few weeks, the atmosphere in the house changed. She stopped cooking as much. Conversations became brief, polite, cold. She stayed in her room more. I tried to fix it, asking if something was wrong, suggesting we go out to dinner. She just shrugged. I am fine, Dudley, just tired. But her eyes held something I had never seen before. Resentment. 2 months later, everything exploded. I came home to find papers spread across the dining table. Legal documents. I caught a glimpse of the words property transfer before my mom swooped in and gathered them up. Just some old papers, nothing important, she said, quickly shoving them into a folder. Mom, what were those? I said, it is nothing. Do not worry about it. Her tone was sharp, final. That weekend she dropped a bomb. Dudley, I want you to meet someone special. His name is Gary. I had no idea she was dating anyone. Gary showed up that evening. He was 58, a retired contractor with a beer gut and loud voice. He walked into my house like he owned it, flopped onto my couch and put his feet on my coffee table. So you are the son, Gary said, looking me up and down. Patricia talks about you all the time. I tried to be polite. If my mom liked him, I would give him a chance. But something about Gary rubbed me wrong. He was too comfortable, too quick to make himself at home. Over the next few weeks, he was there constantly. Some nights he stayed over. I did not love it, but I bit my tongue. My mom deserved companionship. Then Gary started with the comments. We were having dinner one night when he said, You know, Dudley, your mom deserves this house more than you do. I put down my fork. Excuse me. She raised you alone, gave up her whole life. This house, it is really the least you can do for her. Letting her live here is not enough. She should own it. My mom said nothing, just kept eating eyes on her plate. I already let her live here rent-free, I said carefully. I am paying the mortgage, all the bills. Gary laughed, this condescending chuckle. Living here is not ownership, kid. Your mom needs security. What happens if you decide to kick her out one day? She would have nothing. I would never do that. You say that now, Gary said, leaning back in his chair. But things change. People change. She needs her name on that title. The conversation made my skin crawl. After Gary left, I tried to talk to my mom. What was that about? He is just looking out for me, Dudley. You cannot blame me for wanting some security in my old age. You have security. This is your home. But it is not mine, is it? She looked at me with cold eyes. It is yours. I am just a guest. That is not true, and you know it. She walked away without another word. Things escalated fast. Gary and my mom started pressuring me together. They cornered me one evening with a stack of papers. We had a lawyer draw these up, Gary said. Just sign here and here. It puts your mom's name on the deed. 50-50 ownership. Fair right. I read through the documents. They wanted me to transfer half my ownership to her. The house I bought that I was paying for split down the middle. I cannot do this, I said. I am still paying the mortgage. This does not make any sense. My mom started crying. So you do not trust your own mother after everything I have done for you? It is not about trust. It is about being practical. Practical, she spat the word. I gave you life and you want to be practical. Gary put his arm around her. See what I mean, Patricia? He does not appreciate you. I refused to sign. That decision changed everything. A week later, my Aunt Linda and Uncle Robert showed up unannounced. They walked right in, did not even knock. My mom must have given them a key. They sat me down in my own living room like I was being called to the principal's office. Dudley, we need to talk about how you are treating your mother. Aunt Linda began, her face stern. What are you talking about? Patricia told us everything, Uncle Robert said. How you are threatening to kick her out. How you have been cruel to her. My jaw dropped. That is not true. I never said anything like that. She is scared, Dudley, Aunt Linda continued. She thinks you are going to make her homeless. What? No. Who told you this? My mom appeared from the hallway, tears streaming down her face. I did not want to involve them, but I am so frightened, Dudley. You have changed since you bought this house. You treat me like a stranger. I could not believe what I was hearing. Mom, that is a lie. You know it is. See, she sobbed to Linda and Robert. He calls me a liar now. For the next hour, my entire family ganged up on me. Aunt Linda, Uncle Robert, even my cousin who had driven up, all telling me what a terrible son I was. How ungrateful. How cruel. I tried to explain, tried to tell them the truth, but they would not listen. My mom had gotten to them first, spun her story, and they believed her completely. After they left, I felt sick. I went to the shared computer in the hallway, the one we both used sometimes for emails. I do not know what made me check, maybe desperation, but I opened the browser history. There it was. An email my mom had sent 2 months earlier. The subject line read, "How to claim ownership of my son's house." My hands shook as I read it. She had contacted a lawyer, explained the situation, asked about legal options to take the house from me. The lawyer had responded with suggestions. My mom had been planning this for months. I printed everything, every email, every response. I knew I needed evidence. 1 week later, a sheriff knocked on my door. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a court summons. Patricia Henderson versus Dudley Henderson. My mom was suing me. The charges made me want to vomit. Elder abuse, financial exploitation. She was claiming I had manipulated her, forced her to live in terrible conditions, and was threatening to make her homeless. She was asking the court to transfer full ownership of the house to her. I sat on my porch steps and cried. The woman who raised me, who I loved more than anyone, was using the legal system to destroy me. I found a lawyer the next day. Mr. Harrison was 50 years old, gray hair, sharp eyes, and 3 decades of experience. I showed him everything, the summons, the printed emails, explained the whole situation. This is more common than you think, he said, leaning back in his chair. Family disputes over property get ugly fast, but you need solid evidence that she is lying. The court tends to favor elderly parents in these cases. Judges see a poor old mother and a young son, they make assumptions. What can I do? Gather everything. Bank statements showing you paid for the house. Mortgage documents in your name only. Anything that proves your side of the story. He paused. Do you have any recordings or proof of what she has been saying? Just those emails. Those help, but we need more. Her lawyer will argue you forced her to say those things or took them out of context. Over the next few weeks, I prepared. I gathered every financial document. Bank statements showing the down payment came entirely from my account. Mortgage statements in my name. Utility bills I paid. I had records of everything. My mom's lawyer was a woman named Miss Thornton. She was in her mid-40s, sharp dresser, aggressive reputation. Word got back to me about their strategy. They would paint my mom as a vulnerable senior citizen who had been manipulated by her ungrateful son. They had witnesses lined up. Gary would testify. Some of my mom's friends, too. They would all say they had seen me mistreat her. The trial date approached. I could not sleep, could not eat. I kept imagining losing my house, my home, everything I had worked for. The mortgage still had 25 years left. If I lost, I would lose everything and still owe the bank. But then I remembered something I had installed right after buying the house and had honestly forgotten about until now. The day of the trial arrived. The courthouse was cold and intimidating. People filled the benches, relatives from both sides. My mom sat with Miss Thornton and Gary, all of them looking confident. I sat with Mr. Harrison, my stomach in knots. Judge Martinez entered, a stern-looking woman in her late 50s with gray streaks in her dark hair. "We will hear the case of Henderson versus Henderson," she announced. Miss Thornton started strong. She called my mom to the witness stand. Patricia took the oath and sat down, immediately dabbing at her eyes with a tissue. "Miss Henderson, can you tell the court about your relationship with your son?" Miss Thornton asked gently. "I raised Dudley alone." My mom began, her voice shaking. "His father left when he was just 5. I worked 3 jobs to provide for him. I gave up everything, my dreams, my social life, my health, all for him. And when he bought a house, what happened? He asked me to move in. I thought finally, after all those years of sacrifice, I would have a home, but it became a nightmare." She sobbed dramatically. "He controls everything. Who I can see, when I can have friends, over what I am allowed to eat. He treats me like a prisoner in my own home." "Your own home," Miss Thornton emphasized. "I consider it my home. I paid for half the down payment. Dudley kept the deed in his name only. He tricked me." I wanted to scream. Every word was a lie. Miss Thornton continued. "Has he threatened you?" "Yes," my mom whispered. "He said if I do not do all the housework, if I complain about anything, he will kick me out on the street. I am terrified." Judge Martinez looked at me with disgust. I could see it in her eyes. She believed my mom. Gary took the stand next. "I have witnessed Dudley yelling at Patricia multiple times," he testified, "calling her names, threatening her. She is scared of her own son. I have seen bruises on her arms from where he grabbed her." That was a complete fabrication. I had never touched my mom in anger, never raised my voice at her. The judge's expression grew darker. I felt the case slipping away. Then it was my turn. Mr. Harrison called me to the stand. I swore on the Bible and sat down, my heart racing. "Dudley, tell us your side," Mr. Harrison said calmly. I took a breath. "I bought that house with my own money. Every dollar came from my savings from 3 years of working and living on almost nothing. I invited my mom to live with me because I love her and wanted to give her a better life. I never asked for rent, never asked her to pay bills. I just wanted her to be comfortable." "Did you pay for the down payment alone?" "Yes, $50,000 from my savings account." "Did your mother contribute financially?" "No. She did not give me a single dollar toward the house." "And did you abuse her?" "Never. Not once. Everything she is saying is a lie." Miss Thornton cross-examined me, trying to poke holes in my story. But I stayed calm, stuck to the truth. Then Mr. Harrison stood up. "Your Honor, we have evidence that will prove Miss Patricia's claims are entirely false." He pulled out a USB drive from his briefcase. My heart pounded. "What is this?" Judge Martinez asked. "Evidence, Your Honor. You see, when Dudley bought his house, he installed a home security system. Part of that system included cameras in common areas. Living room, kitchen, front entrance. These cameras record 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with both video and audio." The courtroom went silent. I saw my mom's face go pale. Gary shifted uncomfortably. "Objection." Miss Thornton jumped up. "This is a violation of privacy." "It is Mr. Henderson's home," Mr. Harrison countered. "He has every right to install security cameras in his own property. The cameras were visible, not hidden. Miss Patricia was aware of their existence." Judge Martinez considered this. "I will allow it. Proceed." Mr. Harrison plugged the USB into the courtroom's display system. The first video played on the large screen. It was dated 3 months earlier. My mom and Gary in the living room, sitting on the couch talking. Their voices came through crystal clear. "Gary, if you can get this house, we can sell it and split the money. Easy $500,000 between us." My mom: "Do you really think the court will give it to me? Gary, you are his mother. You are elderly. Judges eat this stuff up. Just play the victim. My mom laughed. Dudley is too soft. He will not even fight back properly. He still thinks I am his sweet mother. The courtroom erupted in whispers. Judge Martinez's face transformed from sympathy to fury. Mr. Harrison played another clip. My mom on the phone coaching one of her friends. When you testify, Margaret, say you saw him grab me. Say you heard him yell. The judge will believe us. He is just a kid. They will side with me. Another video showed my mom talking to Aunt Linda in the kitchen. Aunt Linda, but did you really help pay for the house? My mom, no, I did not give him $1, but I will claim I did. How can he prove otherwise? Video after video, each one more damning than the last. My mom and Gary discussing their plan to manipulate the court. My mom rehearsing her testimony, practicing her tears. Gary suggesting she claim physical abuse to make the case stronger. The silence in the courtroom was deafening. My mom's face was bright red. Gary looked like he wanted to disappear. Miss Thornton sat frozen, her confident expression shattered. Mr. Harrison then presented bank records, every single transaction for the past 4 years. The records showed clearly that the $50,000 down payment came entirely from my account. The mortgage payments, every single one paid from my account. Utility bills, property taxes, home insurance, all me. He showed the emails I had found, the ones where my mom asked a lawyer how to steal my house. He showed text messages between my mom and Gary planning the whole thing. Your Honor, Mr. Harrison said, this is not a case of elder abuse. This is a case of attempted fraud. Miss Patricia has fabricated every claim in an effort to steal property from her son, property he worked hard to purchase and has been paying for entirely on his own. Judge Martinez looked at my mom with an expression of pure disgust. Miss Patricia Henderson, I have presided over family court for 26 years. I have seen many cases, some heartbreaking, some frustrating. But this level of calculated deception is truly appalling. My mom tried to speak. Your Honor, I can explain. You can explain in a moment when I refer your case to the district attorney's office. The judge cut her off. You have attempted to defraud your own son, a son who by all evidence has shown you nothing but generosity. You have committed perjury on this stand. Your witnesses have committed perjury. This is criminal. She turned to me. Mr. Dudley Henderson, I am dismissing this case entirely. You retain full ownership of your property. Furthermore, I am ordering Miss Patricia Henderson to pay your legal fees in full. She looked back at my mom. You are also ordered to vacate Mr. Henderson's property within 7 days. You are not to contact him for a minimum of 2 years. If you violate this order, you will be held in contempt. She banged her gavel. Case dismissed, and Miss Henderson, the district attorney, will be in touch regarding potential charges for perjury and attempted fraud. I sat there unable to process what just happened. Mr. Harrison shook my hand. You did it. Your preparation saved you. I looked over at my mom. She was crying, but these were not tears of remorse. Her face was twisted with rage and humiliation. Gary was already heading for the exit, abandoning her. Miss Thornton packed up her briefcase quickly, probably already regretting taking this case. I walked out of that courtroom feeling like I could finally breathe. The weight that had been crushing my chest for months lifted. I had won. But as I stepped into the sunlight outside the courthouse, the victory felt hollow. I had won the legal battle, but I had lost my mother. The next week I watched from the window as my mom packed her things. Gary pulled up in a truck. They loaded her 4 boxes, the same 4 boxes she had arrived with 3 years earlier. She did not look at me, did not say goodbye. She just got in the truck, and they drove away. The house felt enormous and empty that first night. I walked into her room, the room I had so carefully decorated for her. Her scent still lingered, that familiar combination of lavender soap and vanilla lotion. I sat on the bed and finally let myself cry. Not tears of relief, but tears of grief. I mourned the mother I thought I had, the relationship I thought we shared. The following weeks were hard. I went to work, came home to silence. Friends called, asked how I was doing. I said I was fine. I was not fine. My therapist, Dr. Sarah Kim, helped me process everything. You need to forgive yourself first, Dudley, she said during one session. You did nothing wrong. You were a good son. Some people, when they see an opportunity for money or security, they change. That change is not your fault. Slowly, I started rebuilding. Work helped. I threw myself into a new project and got promoted to senior engineer. The raise helped pay off the legal fees faster than expected. I started dating again. I met a woman named Sarah at a coffee shop, a teacher at a local elementary school. She was kind, patient, and when I eventually told her my story, she did not judge. "Family is complicated," she said simply. "You protected yourself. That takes courage." Some of my relatives reached out after the trial. My cousin Michael called apologetic. "I am sorry we did not believe you, Dudley. We should have listened to your side." I forgave them but kept my distance. Some relationships once broken cannot fully heal. I renovated my mom's old room, turned it into a home office. The yellow walls got painted a calm blue. New desk, new shelves, a space that was mine. I invited Sarah over, had friends for dinner. The house started to feel like a home, a real home, not a battlefield. 6 months after the trial, I got a letter. The return address was my mom's handwriting. I stared at it for a long time before opening it. "Dear Dudley," it read. "I am sorry. I was blinded by Gary's influence and my own fears of being alone and broke in my old age. I made terrible choices. I do not expect you to forgive me, but I want you to know I regret what I did. I hope someday you can remember the good times we had. Love, Mom." I read it 3 times, then folded it carefully and put it in a drawer. I was not ready to respond. Maybe someday, but not today. The wound was still too fresh. Sarah moved in with me 6 months ago. We are talking about the future, maybe getting married, maybe kids someday. This house built on my sweat and sacrifice is now filled with genuine love and peace. I learned hard lessons through this experience. I learned that blood does not automatically mean loyalty. Real family, true family, is measured by actions and integrity, not genetics. I learned that being a good son does not mean being a doormat. I can love someone and still protect myself. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it is necessary for survival. Those security cameras saved everything. Not because I did not trust my mom when I installed them. I had put them in for general home security to monitor packages to feel safe. But they ended up exposing a truth I never wanted to see. People ask if I regret having them, if it made me paranoid. I tell them no. The cameras did not destroy my relationship with my mother. They simply revealed what was already broken underneath. Sometimes the hardest truths are the ones that set us free. I do not hate my mom. I am sad for her, sad for what greed and fear turned her into. I forgive her not because she deserves it, but because carrying anger only poisons my own life. Forgiveness is not about forgetting or excusing what happened. It is about releasing the hold that pain has on me. I am grateful, strangely enough. Grateful this happened when it did, before she could do more damage. Grateful for Mr. Harrison, who believed me and fought for me. Grateful for Sarah, who loves me despite my broken family. Grateful for this house that taught me the difference between family by blood and family by choice. My mom tried to take my house in court. She thought she knew me, thought I would be too weak to fight back. But she forgot something important. She raised me to be strong, to stand up for myself, to fight for what is right. Ironically, the very strength she taught me as a child became the weapon I used to protect myself from her. That might be the saddest lesson of all. So let me ask you, have you ever had to stand up to family? Have you ever been in a situation where doing the right thing meant losing someone you love? Drop your story in the comments. I would love to hear. I am not alone in this. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel because I share more real-life stories like this one. And please share this video with someone who might need to hear it, someone dealing with their own family struggles. You never know who needs to know they are not crazy for protecting themselves. Thank you for listening to my story. It was not easy to share, but if it helps even one person set boundaries with toxic family members, it was worth it. Remember, you can love someone and still choose yourself. That is not selfish, that is survival. Take care of yourselves out there, protect your peace, and never apologize for standing up for what is rightfully yours. Until next time.